Y'all remember when Jujutsu Kaisen became like a BL halfway through? Like, what was that all about? Hey, it's Allie. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, this video, it's been a long time coming. Strap in. Ever since June, y'all have been asking for a Gojo Geto video, and I knew it was gonna take a while to script together. The script is almost like 8 pages long. And to top it all off, my timeline seems to know exactly when I start to look into some things, because all of a sudden, I'm seeing a resurgence in Gojo Geto fan art, and it just started whispering to me like the little green goblin mask. You know you want to do a Gojo Geto video, get on it, stop procrastinating. So here we are. Well, the stupid, tragic, gay-ass motherfuckers is back in my brain, so I guess we should talk about it, huh? If you somehow avoided the Great KFC crash out of 2023, let me fill you in. Jujutsu Kaisen is a battle manga turned anime that took the world by storm in 2020. And that, and also the fact that it had really good animation, and of course, the beautiful, beautiful man we all know as Gojo. It has been a very long time since I've seen an anime, any type of anime, but especially a shonen anime, really take the world by storm as this did specifically with its characters. Like, Demon Slayer is really, really big, like bigger than I think some people give it credit for. But with characters specifically, Gojo tops everything, eclipses everything, which is so funny because it's like what his character is, right? And so for him to get as popular as it is some type of like divine intervention, like lyrical irony. I don't even know. Like, I'm just making up words now. Like, I don't even know, but it just feels right that this is the character that would somehow become super duper duper popular. Like, I cannot stress how this man is everywhere. Cardboard cutouts at him, at weddings, all of this type of stuff, right? And Gojo, much like Attack on Titan back in the day, set ablaze this new trend of like ex-reader fan fiction. And of course, yes, the edits on TikTok, who can forget Daddy's Home? Now, of course, it did not end there. Of course, if you read the manga and not just watched the anime, you knew what was coming. And oh boy, did it come. Oh my god, never take me seriously. Anyway, Gojo Geto was a ship that, just like Gojo himself, took the entire fandom internet anime space by storm. I was not joking when I said that this was the second coming of Narusasu. Not only because of the tragic lovers of it all, the star-crossed, star-bound lovers of it all, but because the canonicity of this is dubious at best, and honestly canon at most. So let's talk about it. If at any time you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, because I make videos like this all the time, and comment down below how you feel about Gojo Geto. Geto. Oh my god, it's Geto. I remember, at least I'm going off of the dub. I'm going after the dub because in the dub they were like Geto, and I was like, remember, it's Geto because he's gay. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below how you feel about Gojo Geto, and whether or not you think it's canon, whether you don't think it's canon but you still ship it, etc, etc. Whether you are drinking the Kool-Aid that I am and genuinely believe that GEGE, the author, really did try to make this canon and this is the closest he got. So let me know down in the comments below, and hey, let's just jump into it.
You're gay.
Obviously, I'm not gay.
Well, it's not so obvious. I mean, you are pretending to be a girl online and having a romantic relationship with a guy, so...
I give it to you. You got me there.
Right.
So, maybe.
So there's like one major through line throughout all of Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's that like sorcery society sucks. To the inner politics of the clans, to the idea that you're supposed to lay your life on the line simply because you were born with power to see curses. A major theme of this series is control. Control over your power, control over your own life, control over your own body. And of course we see that with Sukuna and Yuji, right? But we also see that with the likes of Geto and Gojo. I'm gonna get his name right, I promise. Geto's whole main power is that he can consume curses, and by consuming them, he now has control over them. And I do think it ultimately leads him down this destructive path of realizing that this thankless task, he's putting his body through the ringer for people who might not even care about him in the first place. And Gojo is the same way, where he is constantly like almost kind of pushed to go far beyond his own limits, to constantly reach these new heights and these new limits for the sake of being the strongest, for the sake of everybody else around him but himself. And wouldn't you know it, this leads to both of them having some complexes about their roles in society. Geto becomes this character who haunts the narrative long after he passes away. In fact, one could argue that he's been haunting the narrative since the beginning, not just in his body, but also his ideals for the world. It is something that Gojo and then later on Sukuna are constantly fighting against, this idea that like humans don't deserve to live because they don't know jujutsu sorcery and this whole world is fucked up and we should just pretty much get rid of it in one way or another. And like I said in my Narusasu video about Naruto and Sasuke, Gojo and Geto completely steal the show. Like, it is about Yuji, and Gojo does take a very strong like front seat in this as well. Some people even call him the deuteragonist of this. I feel like that's honestly, no, I was gonna say it's a little bit of a stretch, but honestly, after JJK 0 and the entire hidden inventory arc, at this point, I do think Gojo is meant to be a second protagonist in a way. He's supposed to be who I believe we're seeing the story through, like looking at Yuji and Megumi and Nobara, like looking at them through Gojo's eyes, right? And seeing this world through his lens. But in doing so, all of the hope and hopelessness that you feel throughout the series is what Gojo is feeling at this time, right? He has this hope in the next generation that he's trying to keep alive like so strongly, and we'll get to that later. But I feel like because of that, I think he is supposed to be like a deuteragonist in that way, which means that obviously Gojo Geto as a ship completely steals the show. It's the one thing that like everybody remembers from this show. Like technically Jujutsu Kaisen is over, like the manga has ended, and all people are talking about is Gojo and Geto. That's all they're talking about. Like, that's all that this manga will be remembered for, to the point where people are genuinely asking GEGE for his next thing that he writes to be like BL or GL, because like he's like, you got some like talent for this. Like, I feel like that's where you need to go next. And not even because they just want to see people's ships come to life, but genuinely because the way that he wrote them was like so well done without being like overtly romantic, in the sense that like they're kissing and going on dates and like whatever you would see in like a typical romance. All of the like subtle romance things, or everything that's not just like your typical romance, happened to Gojo Geto, which is why people think that it's canon, right? Like, just because they didn't go on a date, just because they didn't kiss or say I love you and yada yada yada, does not mean that they weren't in love, because babe. But that's why people say that GEGE should write like that later, and we'll get into that like at the end here. But like, oh wow, they steal the show absolutely completely. Like, hidden inventory, all the amount of like effort and like the animation, the music, all the subtlety and the like symbolism that goes into the hidden inventory arc. Like, it is 3 episodes, 4. It's like 4 episodes, right? It's 4 episodes of the anime, and it's probably the episodes that people are going to remember the most about the anime. And that's insane, because Jujutsu Kaisen already raised the bar in terms of like animation and things like that. And so to say all of that and to still know that those 4 episodes, I genuinely, because I was like, I need to go rewatch season 2. Bitch, I thought all of season 2, because this is how much I remember just the hidden inventory arc. I thought all of season 2 was the hidden inventory arc. And I genuinely was like, man, I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole season. This is gonna be a lot, but we'll get through it. Girl, it was 4 episodes. That felt like a lifetime. The entire hidden inventory arc feels like a fucking lifetime. And it's only 4 episodes. Like, it's crazy. That is like what Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be remembered for, is the hidden inventory arc. Like, I genuinely believe that is like the peak of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, argue with a wall. And I also genuinely believe that GEGE meant to make them canon in the most subtle way possible that you can get away with in a shonen anime. And it's hilarious because we consider them soulmates. And honestly, I think even on a platonic level, if you were to ask them in character if they consider themselves soulmates, they would probably say yes, which is hilarious because they spend most of their time, especially during the hidden inventory arc, apart. Like, it's almost like the world was meant to tear them apart. Oh girl, oh girl, oh girl. No one has control over their life in this series. Gojo's life was destined before him as soon as he was born. Geto genuinely thought that if they somehow just did everything right, everything that they were supposed to do, then life would treat them kindly and fairly. None of them got to choose, but they still chose each other. Like, as soon as we meet Gojo and Geto, it's Gojo and Geto forever. Like, even on a platonic level, this is the thing I always said in my Narusasu video, like, even on a platonic level, you cannot deny, literally you can't, because it's written canonically in the story, that they are, like, written in the stars. And Gojo and Geto take it a step further without even having to, like, be destined in that way. Like, Naruto and Sasuke were literally destined to always be orbiting each other, right? Like, from their ancestors, everything, they were destined to be orbiting each other. Whereas, like, Gojo and Geto, it's, like, almost like they forced themselves to be destined together. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? Am I going off the deep end? I mean, you're sitting here watching this probably hour-long video anyway. Like, I feel like you get me, right? Like, it's almost like the universe didn't want them to be soulmates, but they said, fuck that, we're gonna be soulmates anyway. Even on a platonic level, which, like, I'm gonna stop saying that because y'all know where I stand at this point, right? And the thing is, everybody else around them feels the same way. There is no Gojo without Geto. Like, at least in the beginning. There is no Gojo without Geto. The two of them together, it's always, where's Gojo? And by extension, where's Geto? If they're separated, there's a problem. Like, and it's funny because in every single battle during the hidden inventory arc, they are therefore separated. They are separated a lot, and that ends up honestly becoming their downfall, right? It's almost as if, like, Toji knew, which, like, I wonder if somehow he knew that, like, oh, I can't fight them both together, but I can probably take them on separately. Because had Gojo and Geto been together, fighting together, they probably would have been unstoppable in that moment, right? Biggest Gojo Geto shipper is deadbeat dad of the year, Toji. Toji Fukushira. Jujutsu Society is a very small one. We are never told exactly how Gojo and Geto become friends, but the thing is, it doesn't matter. It's almost as if they've been friends forever. You're not supposed to question how they became friends, how long they've been friends for. They just are. And that's why them being torn apart hurts even more. Like, Naruto and Sasuke were the sun and the moon. That's their imagery. Here, Gojo and Geto are almost like two sides of the same coin. They're the same type of fish, like a beta fish. But the thing about beta fish, I think, correct me if I'm wrong about the symbolism with the beta fish thing, but I think the whole thing about the beta fish is that they're both really strong, like, fish, but, like, together they don't really work well together. Like, you can't put them in the same, like, tank. Isn't that the whole thing with beta fish, is that, like, they're very territorial, so they won't be in the same, like, tank together, that it doesn't work like that. But either way, regardless, the whole thing about yin and yang, you know, the whole, like, them circling each other but never actually touching. And then also the fact that the like, Geto is represented by black and Gojo is represented by white, two sides of the same coin. Okay, they have the same ideals, but those ideals have taken them to wildly different places. They both believe in protecting Jujutsu Society and the people in it and their found family, which we'll get to found family, girl. We'll get to found family. But they believe in protecting that, but where that takes them is completely different. And of course, this is represented highly in the first impressions we get of them in the hidden inventory arc. Gojo is extremely arrogant. He is, like, outwardly arrogant. He will tell you that he is the best. He will tease you. He will make fun of you, all this other type of stuff, because he knows that he is better than you. And honestly, it comes from a place of, like, you don't even have to worry about anything because I will protect you. But in doing so, I'm going to be a little asshole about it, right? I'm going to be a little asshole, but I will always come in and save the day and protect you. The whole thing is that Mei and girl's name, who I can't remember, I'm sorry, girl, they go to do this mission and they're gone for, like, a couple of days, but because time warps, like, differently in that little like, cursed castle thing. It was a castle, it was a house. That house that they were in. Gojo and Geto go save them. Shoko is also there. Hi, Shoko. Which I don't have time to get into this. Other people have talked about the misogyny in Jujutsu Kaisen. Shoko, oh my god. There's a line that Gojo says at the end of the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie where he's just like, yeah, that was my one friend, my only friend. And I was like, fuck Shoko, I guess. Like, what the fuck? Like, huh? What? And that's crazy. That's why, like, it's one of those things where it's just, like, making them canon would have, like, solved this issue. Because had you had just made it canon, he could have said, yeah, that was my first love, or, like, whatever. And we wouldn't have had to, like, shaft Shoko like that. Because saying that Gojo has, like, no friends and that Shoko just isn't his friend is crazy work. Crazy fucking work. Anyway, going back to Hidden Inventory arc, though, meeting Gojo, he's super arrogant, right? And then after that, what are my cats doing? Anyway, and then after that, Geto comes in and he's also arrogant, but in a more subtle way that you don't really recognize at first. Like, unless you're really, you know, looking into it like I am, you know, mentally ill, you don't really recognize that Geto is also pretty fucking arrogant. Like, he also believes in, like, protecting the weak. He immediately says, like, hey, don't make fun of the weak. huh? Like, that would have made me even more angry than whatever Gojo had to say. Because at least, you know, Gojo is teasing. Like, you know, he's like, you know, he's being an asshole, but at least he's teasing about it. Geto saying, we must protect the weak. We must protect the weak. I'm gonna punch you in your fucking face. But anyway, this arrogance is also what leads Geto, I think, to have his like final crash out, right? Is the fact that he genuinely believes that like everybody else is weaker than him and Gojo by extension. And so therefore, like, yes, he should protect them, but in an almost pitying, like, you can't do anything for yourself type of way. And because like he comes across humans that are ungrateful for the things that he has done for them, that's when he like ends up snapping, right? And there's more to it and we'll get to that, but that is ultimately what happens. It's his worldview that gets shattered and he can't put it back together, that ends in him, you know. The point though is that Gojo and Geto are a pair. Do not separate. And they also believe that 100%. They truly believe that as long as they have each other, they will always be on top of the world. However, despite their worldviews being very similar, it takes them to very different places. As I said, Gojo grew up knowing exactly where he was going in life. He didn't get a choice. He knew exactly where he needed to be. He knew exactly that he will always be at the top. And because of that, he has so much responsibility placed on him as a person. And you see this in both JJK 0 and in the Hidden Inventory arc and in the way that he treats Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi. He treats them as youth that deserve to have a choice because he never got one. The way he treats Rika when he decides to let her live out what is essentially her last days of her life one way or another, and the way that he treats Yuta when he comes to him knowing that Yuta was going to be executed, when he knew that Yuji was going to be executed, when he found Megumi for the first time, he offered them that choice, the choice to live their lives, right? As much as they possibly can, right? Because he knows that that choice is important. He even says during JJK 0, like, the youth are important. You cannot take, I will not allow you to take the youth away from these kids. Allow them to live their lives as much as possible as teenagers before they have to go into this world, right? Being forced into this world and getting your youth stripped away from you. Both Gojo and Geto know this. They know that they have been forced to grow up so irredeemably fast, and that often leads to premature deaths for a lot of people, and we'll get to that later with Geto's crash out, right? But like, it leads to a lot of premature death, and it's not fair. And these kids did not sign up for this. They didn't ask to be born to be able to see curses. They didn't ask to be born in the specific clans that they were born in. And specifically when he asked Megumi, he says, you can either go back to your clan or you can come with me and, you know, have a choice in your life. And Megumi asked, like, is going back to my clan gonna help my sister? And he immediately was like, no.
If I do go there, do you think my sister will be able to find happiness? If she can, then...
No. 100% no. I can say that with certainty.
He's like, absolutely fucking not. He doesn't even, he says it so quickly. He like cuts off Megumi that it scares Megumi a little. He's like, oh, okay. And he's right in that sense. He knows that going back to a clan like that, you will never get a choice again in your life. Whether it's because he saw whatever power that Megumi has or whatever potential, knowing that he would never ever get a choice again in his life, Gojo chooses to lead his life for others so that they get the choice to live, right? Geto, on the other hand, he also comes to this realization, right, that you don't really have a choice in what is going on. However, he believes that because he is the strongest, he tries to go down this righteous path, right? Almost too righteous, which leads to his downfall, of this idea that like, we must protect the weak. We must protect the weak. We must protect everybody, right? But he believes that in doing so, people will be appreciative of that people will allow him to do what he wants. Yes, there is evil in this world, the curses, people trying to use curses for bad, yada, yada, yada. But if he just does the right thing, good things will happen. It is very clear that that is his worldview. He never says it out loud, but it's very clear that that's his worldview. Because the second that shatters, the second that he's met with like recognizable death, the fact that like Rico dies and it's his fault, but it's not his fault. Like, it's not his fault that this happened, even though it was technically under his watch, right? Like, Toji killed her for a check. Like, and that's just like incomprehensible. The fact that you would kill a teenage girl for a fucking check, right? Even if she's a part of this like big thing or like whatever, and the whole thing with the cults and yada, yada, yada. The fact that like when he goes to this place, this village, and there are these people trying to like pretty much prosecute these little girls for like also being able to see curses and stuff like that. And he knows that they have done nothing wrong and he's trying to explain it, but these people just don't like do that again. He's about to watch somebody innocent again lose their lives over something that isn't their fault, that they cannot control. It's the same thing that Gojo was met up against, but in this case Geto sees like the, I guess, more ugly and more hopeless side of it, which leads him to going down a more negative path than Gojo's more positive and hopeful one. Black and white, hello. And I think this all compounds into found family. Like Jujutsu High is extremely small. There's like 3-4 people to a class a lot of the times. And that is because a lot of kids who end up in these places end up dead a lot of the time. They don't even get to have the chance to go to Jujutsu High, right? They end up dead a lot of the time. One of the like things that the little girls say, they're teenagers at this point, right? Gojo's children, Geto's children, sorry. Gojo has another set of children, whatever. She says to like the people from Jujutsu High, like, you have no idea what it's like for curse users or people who can see curses or whatever, who don't live in major cities, who don't have the support system, because Lord knows Jujutsu High is not a support system, but a support system like Jujutsu High, right? Like, what are we supposed to do? We get prosecuted so much. Geto saved us from that. And it's no wonder, that's why it's like, no wonder that like Gojo spares all of them in the end. During Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, like Gojo spares all of them. Geto asks at the end, like, did you spare my family? And he's like, yeah, of course I did. Like, it's like a no-brainer because he understands the hardship that all of these people like have to go through, right? He understands the found family of it all. And that's why like Geto ends up like forming another family after leaving like here. It's because like the whole found family aspect is that sorcerers are like almost prejudiced in a way, almost like discriminated against in a way, despite being so powerful. And it's a very like thankless job because of that. After Yu's death, I see Yu's death as the like catalyst, the final straw that broke the camel's back for Geto, because Yu was like also very innocent, very marked for death. Anytime you see an innocent character who's so happy about being in a place that's like so very not a happy place to be in, you know he's gonna die. And he dies. And at this point there's so much frustration in the air. Like Nanami is so frustrated, and like that gets to Geto. Like to me, that in the conversation he has with Rika, he has with her about like the way to make sure that curses are gone forever. He's met with this insurmountable task to have everybody be able to have some type of like control over their cursed energy, or, you know, somehow eradicate all curses forever, or this like secret third option that kind of goes unsaid, but then they say it out loud. Or you could just kill every human in existence. Every non-cursed user, every like Jujutsu sorcerer, anybody who doesn't have like the ability to see curses, just kill them. AKA every regular civilian human. And of course Rika's like, haha, but that could never happen. And Geto's like, well, I mean, we have the power to do it. we as sorcerers have the power to do it. And at this point, it is such a thankless job. Yu's death is like so unnecessary. He even says this like beautiful ass quote.
The marathon game of being a Jujutsu sorcerer. If the only thing waiting at the end is a mountain of our comrades' corpses, then...
You're running a marathon. As a Jujutsu sorcerer, you're running a marathon, and when you get to the end of it, it's a mountain of your comrades' corpses. Like, hello, like, he ate with that one. He really did eat with that one. He absolutely ate with that one, because you're so correct. This is a thankless job. You can go your entire life, hardship after hardship, loss after loss after loss, and at the end of the day, some dumb ass fucking humans are gonna come up to you and scream at you and yell at you that you're not doing enough. Yeah, it's no wonder he snapped. It's no wonder he snapped. Absolutely. It's no wonder he snapped. It's always a question of why he snapped and not Gojo. And I think it's just because Gojo from the beginning had to deal with this. Like ever since he was a kid, he had to deal with this. And I think also just the mindset that Geto had about like protecting the weak and seeing people as genuinely under him. Like Gojo sees people under him, but not in like a bad way. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like he sees people under him, but not in like a, oh, you're weak, so I have to protect you. Ooh, but that's how Geto saw people, right? And so when that worldview broke, when people were ungrateful for that, he got mad. He got upset. And if it wasn't going to be you, if it wasn't going to be like Rico, it was going to be somebody else. You know, I'm a firm believer that his worldview would have broke eventually. It is unfortunate, but it's just like how his brain was wired to view the entire world, right? Gojo, unfortunately, was very used to this, kind of almost in a nihilistic that leads to hope type of way. We even see during the hidden inventory arc when he's talking about Riko's death, he says when he's fighting Toji after like reaching his next peak that he's not really even bothered by it anymore, which like sounds really harsh, right? And he even says like, don't be mad at me, but I'm not really bothered by your death anymore. It's because he's used to it, but it's also because he's reached his next peak. Don't worry, I'm not saying Gojo is the better person here, that he's dealing with this well either, because he's not. Because I think his thing is just like, I just have to keep getting stronger, right? I think that was his like takeaway from Riko's death. And the thing is that he does get exponentially stronger after this. And so he thinks, well, I've solved it, right? I've solved the issue. I've solved the problem. I just need to get stronger and I'll just keep getting stronger so I can protect those that I love. That's it. That's it. And then meanwhile, Geto's like, what if we just kill everybody? But like Gojo is just like, I'll just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger because that's my job. That's my role. And I'll just keep doing that because that's my role. I don't have anything else. People need to be protected, but like in a different way than like what Geto thinks, right? And also at the end, right, because Gojo chose to stay, he ends up getting a lot of hope. Hope in Megumi, hope through Yuta, hope through Yuji and Nobara later. He sees so much hope in them. And that's something that Geto did not have. All right, now we got to talk about the KFC breakup. So for those of you who never watched the show and never plan to, let me set the stage for you. Gojo and Geto were sent on a mission to protect Riko, a girl who was to be consumed by Tengen, an immortal sorcerer who keeps the barriers of the JJK high school intact. TLDR, they fail because Toji, dad of the fucking year, takes a fucking paycheck because he's a broke ass bum who doesn't know how to gamble properly and decides to kill Riko for a check. There was a hit on her and he took it. And I think it's not explicitly said, but it's kind of like alluded to with the way Gojo and Geto react. It seems like maybe this was their first failure. Like this was the first time they ever lost somebody at least this innocent to a mission before. And obviously Riko probably reminds them a lot of themselves. So losing in that way was probably like a huge hit to the both of them in their mentalities. Anyway, Gojo on the surface is less shaken up than Geto, but make no mistake, Gojo is shaken up. Like I said, he views this as like he just needs to become stronger, and then he does. He kind of goes crazy. Toji even is like, is this kid okay? And the answer is no. I don't know what you expected, Toji. Like, I don't know why you expect any child in the jujutsu world to be mentally sound. They're not. And of course, Geto also snaps as well. Geto slowly loses all faith in humanity. And of course, like I said earlier, with the multiple deaths that happen kind of almost in a row and the things that he has to go through, job after job, consuming and consuming curses, having to feel the weight of all of these curses on him specifically. I think that's such a good writing tool there. It's not just the fact that he was met with all of this death, like this nonsensical death in his mind, right? It's not just that. It's also that his power is to consume curses. Like physically, he has to consume them. And so imagine consuming these evil, awful things over and over and over and over again, and never once being told by pretty much anybody, hey, thank you. Yeah, I don't know, I'd be a little bit messed up here too. I'm not gonna lie. So as I alluded to earlier, he has a conversation with a girl named Yuki, not Riko. Rika, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. It's a bunch of different people. Yuki is the person he has a conversation with. She is a special grade sorcerer who doesn't take on missions because she doesn't really believe in the way that Jujutsu Society deals with things, with having kids go on missions. It's kind of just like this never ending slop, right? And she is like, I'd rather spend all of my energy trying to come up with a way to get rid of curses for good. And like I said, they have this conversation and she's like, you can either get rid of curses by, you know, like somehow just eradicating them all at once, or letting people have control over their cursed energy, right? So they can regulate that. She was like, yeah, that's kind of all the options. And then Geto's like, the wheels are turning in his head and he's just like, or we can just kill every non-jujutsu sorcery, like, user. We could do that. And Riko's like, yeah, of course I've thought about it. Like, as like a person who's basically conducting experiments, of course I've thought about it, but I'm never like, that's highly improbable and also bad. You know, we can't just commit a genocide of a people. And he's just like, yeah. And then she's just like, I see where your mind can go. And the thing is, I think people might have looked at this and went, damn, Yuki didn't really even try to like put him on the right path again, right? But I think the thing was, she saw that he needed to make that decision for himself, because if he never saw any hope in society, like just regular society again, like there's not much you can do there, right? So I think she pushed him as much as she probably could have, right? And just been like, hey, you got to make that decision for yourself. And obviously, of course, he knows the consequences of the other decision. So he decides to kill an entire village, including his parents, because he's like, I can't just spare them. That'd be dumb. Like, I'm trying to be fair about this, okay? Because this world is unfair to me. So let me be fair and kill everybody, including my parents. And of course, he disappears from Jujutsu Society for a little bit. He comes back eventually. He meets Shoko in Shibuya and is like, hey girl, you want to come with me? It's not even a goodbye. And I think that's what is so like hurts about this scene is it's not a goodbye. It's a, hey, do you want to join me? He asked Shoko first. So this is why, like, I get so pissed off when Gojo says that Geto was his only friend, because it's not like they didn't like her or anything. They literally asked her, like, Geto literally asked her, hey, do you want to join me? Like, I want you and Gojo to be there with me. Like, obviously they don't spend too much time on her, but the fact that he even asked her in the fucking first place, he didn't have to ask her. He didn't have to fucking ask her, but he did. He didn't say like, oh, I don't want you, I just want Gojo. He didn't though, because he thinks of her as a friend and family. Yeah. So this is what happens when you don't just let people be gay. Anyway, so Shoko's obviously like, no, I'm not doing that, silly goose. Anyway, and calls Gojo and is like, hey, I got your boy. We're in Shibuya right now. Or is it Shinjuku? I think it's Shinjuku or Shibuya? It's Shibuya. I think it's Shibuya. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. Gojo shows up, and of course he's furious. He's confused. He doesn't know why he would do something like this, right? I skipped over an important part though. Going back to when Riko died. When Gojo went to go pick up Riko's body, he was surrounded by cultists who were like clapping because they were happy that this happened, right? And he was pissed off, rightly so. And he asked Geto, hey, can I just kill these people? Like, I don't even think I'd get in trouble for it. And I don't feel anything for these people right now. If I were to kill these people, I don't think I'd feel a thing. And Geto's like, no, you can't. Because it would be like an unjust death. You'd be killing unjustly. And the death has to mean something. When you're killing somebody, it has to mean something. And he's like, it has to. It has to. He says that like almost as if he's telling himself it has to mean something, because he also in this moment would love nothing more than to kill these people. But he knows that it has to mean something. Otherwise, like, who are we as people, right? And so in this moment, when they're in Shibuya and Gojo sees him, he's like, hey, you killed all those innocent people. Why did you do that? Their deaths were meaningless. What happened to, like, we're only killing when it has meaning? And he's just like, their deaths did have meaning. I have a plan. My plan is to kill all, like, basically civilian humans. That's my plan now. And I'm going to try my best to do it. And so therefore their deaths are justified. You see how much of a slippery slope that was already going to be? Their deaths are justified. And you can join me or you can get out the fucking way. If you're going to kill me now. And he's like, if I had the amount of power that you had right now, it would work. You could kill everybody right now on this street, right fucking now. And we could be rid of this problem forever. And so I'm going to do the best that I can, because I know you won't join me. I'm going to do the best that I can in this. And I think that's just. And he said, or you can kill me right now. And I also think that's just. Hey, Geto, what the fuck do you mean by that? Like, his death would be justified. I am 100% of the belief that Geto was essentially sealing his fate. He knew that he was going to eventually, if not today, if not tomorrow, if not 10 years from now, he would eventually die by Gojo's hands. Because no matter how powerful that he got, he fucking knew that Gojo was going to be the only one who could really stop him. Yeah, okay. All right, okay. And so Gojo's standing there and he's like, got his fucking hollow purple or whatever the fuck, right about to do it, and he doesn't do it. And there's a KFC right there. Actually, it's a KIC, but it's obviously supposed to be a KFC. So that's where the meme comes from. If you don't know, like the breakup in front of a KFC, because they essentially break up in this moment. And obviously Gojo can't kill him. He can't bring himself to do it, and he lets him go. And the principal even asks him, why'd you do it? Why'd you let him go? And he's like, are you really asking me that question? He's like, no, I'm not asking you that question. I know that's a stupid question to ask. I know why. Like, I know why you let him go. It's fine. And no one blames Gojo for that happening, you know? And oh, girl, what a moment. Iconic. So next we need to talk about JJK 0, aka the kind of like prequel movie that and also prequel light novel and manga that came out sometime during JJK's run, but it's like a prequel to everything that happened leading up to the events of JJK. The most important thing about JJK 0 that you need to know is that the main theme is love. Gojo, once again, giving a second chance to someone who felt like they would never have a second chance to begin with. This movie follows a boy named Yuta who has a curse of his childhood best friend slash first love, Rika. That's Rika. Oh, I was like, who's Rika? I was saying Rika. I was like, girl, who's Rika? This is Rika. I remember now. It's all coming back to me. Anyway, him and Rika, he has this curse named Rika who just doesn't allow him to die, hurts anybody who ever tries to hurt Yuta. He has no control over it, yada, yada, yada. The first twist of the movie is that he finds out that he actually was the one to curse Rika when she died. Like, she died in a very tragic way, and he cursed her like right away on accident when she died, and that's why her like soul is kind of twisted into this like cursed being, right? And so he's finding a way to try and like set her free while also having control over his own powers and stuff like that, yada yada yada. He comes to Jujutsu sorcery school, he's with the second years and yada 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 yada. All right, that's the whole like course of the movie, right? And the through line of the whole thing is love and acceptance and stuff like that. So in a movie that is all about love and acceptance, why is again the deuteragamous Gojo? So Geto, who at this point runs a cult now, decides that he needs Rika in his arsenal, and if he has Rika in his arsenal, then he'd be like unstoppable. And I'm just gonna rapid fire to the end here to talk about what happens. So eventually Yuta fights Geto, right? Because Geto's trying to like come for him, whatever. Yuta is able to lock in, and you know, he's able to put a good hit on Geto, like knock his arm out, right? And so Geto's like running away, and Gojo catches up to him. He comes in, they have a brief conversation, and he asks Geto, hey buddy, I gotta kill you now, so do you have any final words? And Geto's like, nah, I really do hate all those monkeys, right? AKA the civilian humans. I hate all of them. And I wonder if in that moment that was a fucking lie. It makes you wonder if that's a lie, because it's very clear that throughout the movie, he's like saying how much he loves the love. He loves the love that like all of the students have for each other, how Gojo has for his students, etc., etc. Like I said before, he asked Gojo if he made sure that his family was okay when they left, and Gojo like made sure that they were, like he let them go, right? He easily could have killed them, but he didn't, right? And so this through line that his last words being like, I really did hate all those monkeys, is just like, did you though? Did you though? But like, hey, that's a different like type of analysis there. And then so Gojo's like, all right. And then he says something. He says 3 somethings, to be exact. 3 words. He says 3 words, and we don't get to hear what they are. What the fuck could he have said? I'm genuinely asking you, what could he have said? Because we get to see Geto's response after that, and he's just like blushing, and he's like, oh, you could at least curse me. Which is interesting, because earlier in the movie, Yuta, when he comes to this conclusion that he actually may have cursed Rika, and he's like, oh, I didn't like mean to do that, like I loved her or whatever. And Gojo says there is no curse greater than the curse of love, or like love is also a curse or some shit like that. And then immediately the scene cuts to fucking Geto. Yeah, no, yeah, right. So anyway, so I say all this to say at the end there, when Gojo probably says something along the lines of, I love you, right? He probably says something on the lines of, I love you, and Geto blushes and is like, you couldn't have just cursed me. And then we cut to Gojo's face, who looks sad. It's because he just did. He technically just fucking did by saying I love you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that ate. That writing ate. Yeah, it did. And to drive all of this home, the next time that Gojo sees Geto is when Kenjaku, the like big bad villain of the series, is this Sukuna or is it Kenjaku? Girl, I don't fucking know. One of the big bags of the series, when he sees Kenjaku has taken over Geto's body, and he did that on purpose. Kenjaku banked on the fact that Gojo would be so fucking gay that when he saw Geto for the first time, he would freeze. And he banked on that. He banked on that shit so hard, because that was his whole plan. His whole plan was to catch Gojo off guard so he could trap him. And if Gojo didn't love Geto and wasn't fucking caught off guard by the fact that his best friend, his corpse, was right fucking there, his plan would have not gone through. It's actually a meme. It's literally a meme within the fandom that Kenjaku's plan was based off of the fact that Gojo was gay. And if Gojo was not gay, then girl, his plan would have been torn to shreds. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. All right, Kenjaku. All right, Gege. I see you, Gege. I see what you're doing. I see what you're fucking doing. Funnily enough, I do believe that romance is used pretty often in JJK as one of the like penultimate things that a sorcerer can like never have. We see that pretty early on with like Nanami and his whole backstory, where we see he like sees this nice pretty like lady at a bakery, and it's very clear that like he could have had a life with her or something, because it's very clear that she likes him, right? And there's a curse that's like been following her, and that almost serves as like his wake-up call that he can never have this. He gets rid of the curse for that lady, but it's so clear after the fact that like this means that it's a wake-up call for him. He can never have that life, right? Oh, not to me. Rika and Yuta as well, they're a romance that transcends like life into being a curse, right? And the entirety of JJK Zero in general being about love and acceptance, and specifically with Maki. Maki has a lot to do with love and acceptance, especially self-love and acceptance, when it's even possibly hinted at that her and Yuta could possibly be a fucking thing. She immediately rejects that shit. She's like, don't even start. Like, she tells herself, like, don't even start. Don't even think that that was acceptance. Don't even think that. And she like pushes away all of her friends because she's just like, I have to fight for myself. I cannot rely on other people because I need to prove. She has something to prove, right? She has something to prove to the Zenin clan, right? Even when Yuta's like, yeah, I'll kill everybody for you. He just said that like so nonchalantly. Yeah, I'll kill everybody for you. Sure. And she's just like, no, I got to do that myself, actually. Like, she's like, thanks, but I have to do that myself. Like, that's something I need to do myself. I need to massacre my entire clan, reverse Sasuke style. I need to kill everybody in my clan. And it's absolutely 100% justified. I also believe that like Gojo and Geto had this like kind of like codependency about them that was like really interesting. Something that is like just a thing with Jujutsu society in general, because this is all you have. These people who are around you are all that you have. So losing them is it's a hit. Losing all of these people, like Yu's death hurts because he was just so innocent and like happy-go-lucky and all of these other things, right? He had such hope for this world and the thing that he was doing, and of course that got like taken away. This love in Jujutsu Kaisen is just a reminder for all the sorcerers that you cannot have this. This isn't a thing that you can have. So when Gojo sees Nobara, Megami, and Yuji, he's like, I'm gonna protect that at all costs. I don't care what I have to do to get there. I want to protect that. Okay, just a heads up, because I didn't give a heads up in the clips. Spoiler alert for the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen, like the manga to the end, okay? So, really big spoiler alert for that. I'll put it on the screen. You'll see a big, huge thing on the screen like this until it's over, and I'll leave the timestamp that you can skip to now. So go ahead and skip to that now, okay? And here's your warning, and I'm gonna put it on the screen. I don't want to hear no mess. Thank you. And just a little side tidbits here. The first person that Gojo sees in the afterlife, spoiler alert, I should probably, spoiler alert for the end of Jujutsu Kaisen, just in case you don't already know. Spoiler alert, I will put it on the screen. Go ahead and mute me. Gojo does indeed die. And the first person he sees in the afterlife is who? Yeah, okay. All right. And to top it all off, Kenjaku specifically made him die on December 24th. You know, aka Christmas Eve, aka what is considered to be Valentine's Day, or like a very romantic holiday, specifically in Japan. Kenjaku #1 Gojo Geto shipper? Yeah, actually. Not to mention all of the things that Gege the author did himself to heavily imply that Gojo Geto was indeed canon, or that there is at least some type of love there. Oh, like I'm gonna just point you to this video that I watched when I was doing my research for this video. Oh my god, it's such a great video. This person specifically goes into all the things that Gege did specifically, like the fact that there are official playlists, like official songs for each of the characters, each of the major characters, and Gojo and Geto songs are very heavily romantic. The fact that the theme song is also, the theme song that plays during the Hidden Inventory arc is very, very romantic coded. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, yeah. In fact, please go watch that video if you want any details on that. Like, he goes in depth about the lyrics and stuff like that. Are we okay? Are we okay? Like, Gege also takes a lot of inspiration from BL and GL. when it's no wonder why people fell in love with the characters of Jujutsu Kaisen. I believe that the strongest part of Jujutsu Kaisen was its characters and the character relationships. And it's no wonder when GEGE wasn't just looking at other shonen. This is why they talk about you can't just look in the medium that you are creating. You need to look outside of it. He looked outside of the genre that he was creating. He looked at BL, he looked at GL, and the fact that he did, that's why people are like, yeah, he needs to make like a GL or BL next. Like, actually, because he's so good at writing that like longing, that like relationship, like conversations and things like that. He's so good at that it like is kind of like almost a no-brainer. It's not just because people want yaoi. It's because he actually might actually be good at like writing something like that. That's not just like shonen or something like that. And I think it's also crazy that he made their relationship pretty much be persistent throughout the entire series. Like, we talk about like characters haunting the narrative. A relationship, an entire relationship haunts the entire narrative. Where have you seen that before? Like, even if you think that Gojo and Geto is platonic, whatever, why are you this far into this video? I don't know. But like, even if you somehow think that they are platonic, there is no doubt that their relationship haunts the narrative the entire fucking time, all the way until the end. Their relationship haunts the narrative. And that's crazy work. That is crazy, crazy work. Now, lastly, of course, I had a forum. What's a AlleyDreamer video without a fucking forum? And I did ask a couple of y'all how y'all felt about Gojo Geto, if you had anything to say. So I'm gonna read those off now.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
And this is a good time to mention that I do indeed have a Patreon. If you want your response to have 100% chance of being featured in the video, you gotta be on the Patreon. And if you want access to the Discord, that's through the Patreon as well. You only gotta pay once and then you can cancel. I understand. And if you want discounts on any of the stickers, including the probably multiple stickers, I will put them up on the screen that I have designed for this video. I already have it in my head, so hopefully those are done by the time this video goes up. If you want discounts on those, you better head over to the Patreon, or if you just want stickers, you can just head over to my shop. Either one is fine. Thank you. I also think this is really important. Like, I did this obviously to get your guys' opinions, but like, let's talk about the fandom. Like, the fandom went absolutely crazy, and there's a reason. There's a reason. Like, I feel like there are ships in every show across the universe, right? There's always going to be some shipping, right? But when a ship gets as big as Gojo Geto or even like Narusasu did, there's a reason for it. And I think the more canon likely a ship is, the more popular it is. Like, obviously, yes, but like, I think it also just has to do with how well written the characters are. And that's something you guys actually said, so let's get into it. As for fandom culture, it's insane how everyone and their mothers was shipping them. Hell, even my sister could see it. And she literally looks at me like I have 4 eyes anytime I mention shipping. And one of my favorite content creator, Crazy Bomb, a Belgian YouTuber who makes a parody anime, and some of them are the funniest I've ever seen, was actively shipping them. Their parody breakdown of JJK. It was insane to see. As for my interactions with the fandom, I was mostly hanging out on JJK TikTok, and the amount of Satosugu edits is just insane. I have more than 7,000 edits saved, and I just know that 3/4 of them are Satosugu. Taylor Swift and Satosugu was an inescapable combo back in 2023 and 24. Of course, Loverman was also huge. I think Ricky has a love-hate relationship with us because of that, but hey, we made him watch JJK, so I think we're all insane. And now I've been seeing edits with Ethel Kane, ouch, and honestly, most of them were sad edits for obvious reasons, but IDK, it felt special. Like, we're all collectively agreeing that this doomed situationship was actually canon and that JJK was just a BL in disguise. I kind of miss those days, honestly, especially after the whole dumpster fire that was the ending. Can you tell that Gojo is my favorite blue-eyed king, and I absolutely hate the way he was written at the end. As someone who isn't a big shipper when it comes to fandoms, yeah, Gojo Geto feels canon. I mean, if you're writing a story where there's 2 best friends and one of them has blue eyes and the other has void eyes, you know they're going to be shipped, and it's probably going to be one of, if not the most popular ship in the fandom. I think the ship is popular because both Gojo and Geto are 2 of the best written characters in JJK. Geto is tragic, emo character who turns to the dark side after feeling like it's the only way to achieve their goal, where Gojo is the OP, basically the MC/Deuteragmus of the series, sassy, more naive / moral good character who stays on the light side and constantly thinks about the other character all the time. It reminds me of a lot of what you said about in your Narusasu vid. There are these 2 characters that just have so much emphasis placed on him that it feels canon. Basically, the ship checks all the boxes when it comes to a standard Narusasu-like ship, which is why you never see people saying, guys, why can't Gojo and Geto just be friends? Why does everything have to be romantic? Nope, I've never seen any of that. Okay, here's the thing though. I actually have, but it didn't last very long. It did not last very long. Like, here's the thing. There were people in my Narusasu like comments saying like, Narusasu, why can't Narusasu just be friends, blah, blah, blah. But there were also a good amount of like typical dude bro people in my comments that were like, yeah, I don't like shipping, but Narusasu, I can see why people do it. I can see why people ship it. And that honestly just comes down to open-mindedness, whether or not you have internalized homophobia or whatever. Because people who don't have that internalized homophobia in them, but don't really care for shipping, can understand why people would ship two characters together. But that's another conversation for another day. But when it comes to ships like Gojo, Geto, yeah, most of the fandom, even if you don't ship these characters, even if all you care about is the battles and the power scaling, y'all know. You know that Gojo Geto is like a ship that is so, their relationship is so prevalent in the canon of the story, whether or not you think it's platonic, that like a lot of people aren't even upset that other people ship it. Like that's how you know. I haven't watched JJK myself, but what I've heard from friends is that the way they treat each other is with insane trust that they don't have for anyone else. That combined with how strong they are means they can rely on one another in any type of mission or fight scenario. I would be remiss to say that wouldn't carry into other areas in their relationship. I love them. I think there's something so beautiful about characters and their relationships that aren't perfect, like real people. Like, obviously, Geto needs therapy and a lot more, lol, but specifically, I want to talk about Gojo. He is the strongest. From a young age, the literal soul person who is tipping the scale good and evil back to good. And despite this, probably because of it, he is very self-focused, especially as a teen/young adult, to the point where he basically completely misses his best only friend deteriorating in front of his eyes. And then when he finally realizes it, it's too late. And then you mean to tell me that the only thing that could seal Satoru Gojo was seeing Geto again? And the only way that happened was because Gojo didn't have the heart to dispose of Geto's body properly? Bye. Anyway, I think that's what is the biggest draw to me for Satsusugu. Even the strongest isn't perfect. After all, love is the most twisted curse of all. And finally, Satsusugu has taken over my life. I see parallels of it everywhere. It's crazy. I made a whole presentation to show my friends on why it's totally canon, and you should share that. You should share that. Honestly, if I ever like get a space to do, I love this whiteboard. I love when people have like a conspiracy board thing. I would love to do that one day. Honestly. I would love to do that one day. Maybe with the Spam Tenna video, who knows? I would have to get like one of those like bulletin board things to put up here. It is possible though. Like I have all of this space over here. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, share that presentation. Look, I know. Regardless of how you feel about Jujutsu Kaisen and its ending, we got a lot out of it. Okay. For better, for worse, we got like new and great animation, again, for better and for worse. I think that animation has taken a step forward, again, for better or for worse. I cannot like stress how much this is for better and for worse, okay? Because of the working conditions and stuff like that. And I think it's pushed people to maybe go into different art styles of animation, which has been really nice to see, despite everything else about it. And most importantly, the amount of like character writing we've gotten for a shonen is not something you see very often. I feel like sometimes shonen can be very plot heavy and forget about characters sometime. I think the bar has been raised a lot for female characters. There's been great video essays, I'll try to put them here if I find them, about like the actual problems with the female characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's not perfect by any means, and it still kind of falls into a misogynistic wayside because of that. And it's interesting because I don't think it's necessarily out of misogyny. I think some of the, okay, I watched a lot of these videos and I do agree with like most of them on the misogyny that goes on within JJK. It's nothing explicit though. It's not in the way like that like Naruto is, where it's like such explicit misogyny that it's like, oh my God. I feel like here it's like every character fell to the right wayside, and because of internalized misogyny, female characters even more so fell to the wayside. But that's neither here nor there. One day we will find the perfect balance between character writing and plot, you know? Like, Jujutsu Kaisen has amazing character writing, but the plot, and because of that, I feel like a lot of the characters got fucked up towards the end there. Because of the sake of the plot, it was a whole lot. It's a whole lot. A lot of people have talked about it. I'm not gonna get into it lest this video be over 2 hours long, okay? But what else we got out of it because of the amazing character writings is the amazing characters. Like I said, Gojo single-handedly, the same way that Eren Yeager did, single-handedly reformed the way that like ex-reader fan fiction works on Tumblr. Like I kid you fucking not. It has reinvigorated an entire fandom space, which I think is great. I think Jujutsu Kaisen was also a lot of people's introduction into anime, and so because of that, or even introduction into more character-driven like types of anime, I think it has allowed people to reach past the horizon of just like shonen and stuff like that, which I think is really good for getting people to look at other things, right? I think that like fandom space in general has boomed a lot post 2020 because of Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer specifically. I think like those two fandoms were like the main two fandoms I feel like reinvigorated like fandom space, especially like IRL fandom spaces. Like you had like cup sleep events for animes. Like I had never been to a cup sleep event for an anime before. Like that's crazy. And I just went to like a Zoro Luffy one when I went to go see MCR. I totally didn't like put that in my last video, but like I did go to that, and that was great. I bought so much merch. Anyway, I think that's reinvigorated fandom a lot. Like this like new wave of fandom, for better or for worse, I think is because of Gojo and Gojo Geto, so like specifically like in terms of shipping and stuff like that. Like this new era of like edits on like TikTok and stuff. Ooh, it's so good. It's so good. Like I genuinely do believe they set the next blueprint internationally for fandom, and I don't know when we will see that again. So thank you, Gojo Geto, for being gay as fuck. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you did, you are a real one. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started scripting this video, I didn't think I had a lot to say. I thought this might, I genuinely, because I was putting it off for so long, thought this was gonna be a slog to get through, like writing wise. But it's always, once you start, you can't stop. At least that's how it goes for me. Like I'll start writing a script and I went, and then I'm like writing 7+ pages about Gojo Geto. So here we are. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did, you are a real one. I forgot to plug my Patreon during any of this. I'll probably put like a little thing in here. But if you want early access to anything, I will hopefully have a sticker for Gojo Geto coming up. I try, like now I really want to, especially when I do fandom videos, to try and have a sticker or something for each of these videos that I do. So hopefully I will have a sticker design up on my shop that you can shop at. If you are international, you can go on Etsy. You can join my Patreon if you want a discount, or if you want to join the Discord, or if you want first access to any of these forums to make sure and ensure that your response is featured in a video, and a bunch of other stuff too. I plan on starting to read Homestuck, maybe do some like gaming streams. Who knows? You will get first access to all of that on my Patreon though, so feel free to join. And hey, let me read out some of my Patreon members right now. Patreon shout out time. Little Yapper tier, we have Aaron, AC, Basil, Broken Dreamy, Gianna M, Jester, Leela L, Luna L, Malguy, Marmar Bar, Mysterious Trumpet, Reese F, Soup, Toast 1612, Vivian M, Vic. At the average Yapper tier, we have Arapaima, Scout, Twilby, Weirdo, and at the big time Yapper tier, we have Covalence and Tybee. Thank you guys. And hey, I will see you in the next episode. Next video will probably be Cookie Run because of the new update. Okay, bye. Love and peace. Is this my Rouge wig? Yes, like the one I wear for Rouge the Bat. Yes. Am I going to wear it for Gojo? Yes.